What's up, everyone? How's it going? YouTube, Twitch? Twitch first because, well, that's where we are right now, isn't it? YouTube, that place. Ugh. I don't know about YouTube. What's up, Prozac Elf? What's up, Tidbits? Timbo, hey Timbo, seen you in a while. Man, how's it going? That's right. I think I said what's up Prozac Elf, but if I didn't, what's up Prozac Elf? People are jealous of my spryness and seek to emulate it. What's up Styly? How's it going, man? How did Total Recall runs go? I saw you were working on that some more. Did you improve the PB? Best Arnold Schwarzenegger video game of all time. Total Recall for the NES. Oh, that sucks. But Substyly recently got the world record in that not particularly well-known Arnold Schwarzenegger movie franchise NES video game. I'm not even sure. Honestly, it's like what? There were Terminator games, and those weren't exactly like among people's favorite NES video games. And what else? I guess he really didn't have any NES games that were. There weren't a lot of NES movie games that were like really big hits. The one that really stands out to me is Batman. That's such an awesome game. It's like one of the all-time best NES games. Yeah, the Terminator. I think I've seen Toad run those. Maybe it was White Hat. You know, either of those guys. Predator was okay. That's interesting to hear. Yeah, that. I mean, I don't know to what extent it's still true, but for a really, really long time, movie-based video game was basically guaranteed to imply suckiness. Original Batman on Amiga. Yeah, that probably predates the NES game quite a bit, I would guess. The Batman for NES game was based on the... was that movie in the 80s or was it early 90s? That's actually still my favorite Batman movie. I'm not a huge Batman fan or anything, but I actually like that first movie. It was the most interesting one for me. All the movies they made after that were... Of course, there is Batman and Robin, which is the most ridiculous Batman movie of all time. Mortal Kombat. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if you're making a joke, Timbo, but Mortal Kombat was not based on a movie. It was a game that inspired a movie. But I guess you could call that... No, I mean... Yeah, that... They didn't really make a game based on the Mortal Kombat movie, did they? Maybe they did sort of reference it in one of the follow-ups. Hey, what's up, Twin Sue? But yeah, the Mortal Kombat game was obviously like breakout, but that was just a, that was just the game that really introduced gory. Well, I guess it was both gory and that like realistic samples. I forget what you call that technology or whatever. There was Street Fighter movie game. I'm sure that was a classic. Street Fighter movie also not being... Yeah, the reverse would also be true, of course. There were far fewer movies based on a video game, but those movies also generally just sucked. I think the most notorious one was like the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was kind of just a disaster, and I honestly, there was a Doom movie, which was really bad. I can't even, there's not many of them. There's probably only going to be more of them as time goes on, because video games are kind of like so dominant right now. But there has not been a whole lot of video games based on movies, which obviously was the first, because this was back at a time when the idea of making a movie based on a video game was just like, no, they weren't popular enough. But certainly for a while in like the 80s, and 90s, there was a rash of those games, and they were always just like really disappointing. Yeah, video games are much more lucrative, so there's probably a lot that have been made more recently that I'm just not aware of. Anyhow, this is Octopode. What is this? Octopode Gladiator of Nem. There's a char dump for anybody interested. We're on Crypt 3. This is, I can tell this is Grunt's Skull and Crossbones ending. I always seem to get this one. Troll Monk should be a lock. Okay, well, let's just see. %. I'll give you 50% odds, Substyley. That's if you make it to XL17, which you probably haven't made it yet, but yeah, it should be. I mean, it's really easy. The thing that trips up people about nulls is that it depends on how good their understanding of, like, I guess what are good defenses in crawl. Maybe they don't even pick up a shield and they're just walking around in a robe or whatnot, and they have just no defensive stats, and they're trying to let their offense carry them in their HP, and just having a shield is a huge boon, obviously. Then when you finally can maybe pick up some good dragon scales. You have those swamp dragon scales. I have ascended nulls in those. They're basically like slightly worse chain. Chain is like +8 base, and swamp dragon scales are +7. So they're, I think, scale mail the same. You can win the game pretty comfortably. Yeah, they're basically better than scale mail, and you can, if you find the right scale mail, you can definitely win the game, you know, just fine in that. You can win it obviously in less armor. It's just in terms of, like, if you're willing to take on that much encumbrance, you would probably prefer to have more base AC, and scale is kind of uncomfortable, and chain is a bit more, and plate is much more so. Obviously there are trade-offs if you're using spells, but for a troll Evoca, you're not really going to go that route beyond just utility spells. Yep, the old 30-30 defenses. Well, I mean, you say that. I definitely have... I mean, it's really common to do high AC. That's really popular for just winning the game quickly. A lot of my characters really just have something like... Well, they might have a shield on top. That's sort of the... I think the big change has been that one-handed weapons just over... The versions have just gotten better, so that a shield is really nice and comfortable in a lot of ways. So yeah, you can have 30-30 or something close to that, and then have a shield on top of this, and then have a weapon that's actually pretty comfortable for just like meleeing down an orb of fire, which is like the canonical kind of example for endgame stuff. Alright, so this vault is not too tough. My endgame strategy for this guy, I'm going to get a bit more, just going to work a little bit more on fighting and dodging. I'm probably not going to go too far past 20 dodging, but I might keep going a bit on fighting just to get more of an edge. And the basic idea is that I can melee, if I get something like RF3, I can melee an orb of fire pretty comfortably. Any other kind of monster, this is fine. It's mostly is what kind of monster can really outdamage me. Given all the tricks I have, all the stuff in depths I can manage. It's just the stuff that I can't sort of easily make go away. Orbs of fire is one example. There's nothing really in depths that I have to care too much about. At the end of the game, you may get in a kind of a glut of not having enough decks. You know, I'm okay right now. Nothing. So what I might like to do is maybe switch over to an Amulet of Faith if I find one, and just get a bunch more going. And those alone will make the rest of the game, the end game, you know, mostly it's Zot and stuff like that, a lot easier. And then this, I will hopefully be able to enchant this Trishula up, and I can swap to this for anything that resists select. Obviously anything that's undead too. But even this is actually a slightly better weapon than my Demon Trident if the thing resists select because it has higher base damage. It's when you upgrade this, its base damage goes to 13 versus 12 with the same min delay, so it's, you know. Do I hold that? Yes, I do. You don't see me using statue form. I mean, I'm not talking about winning the game fast. I don't think it's true that like statue form is going to make it so that you can't win a game. I think a lot of that comes down to play style preferences and what you're trying to do when you win a game. A lot of people want to win their games really fast, and if they have some chance of dying that's a little bit increased, they're just like, eh. I don't think people necessarily care about it, but I'm playing on a streak. I just find that statue form, especially with the melee, for UC it's not as bad, but for melee it's just not that great. But yeah, as far as melee goes, if it, you know, it's 50% damage increase and your attacks take 50% longer, so it literally does cancel out the benefits. You know, you can talk about when you're going to hit and a monster that might die in one turn, but for most of the combat you care about, that's not going to be, you're not going to kill the monster with a single hit. I don't know, Timbo. At twitch.tv GammaFunk, you're gonna have a hard time silencing the broadcaster. Oh, I see. So now I've gotten myself into trouble, and this guy has done a nice job of spooking me real good. I don't know how I missed that. Something hits you, something bites you. That's really stupid. I'm not in the most danger right here, but I have to be careful because alright, let's I don't really love this though. Don't want to teleport either. I'd love to avoid using blink. I have a lot more, you know, blink is still kind of useful, so I'd like to avoid these guys. What I need is oh yeah, oh true, but I don't really want to take that off. Yeah, that's the dilemma here, is if I take that off, I invite, this is why I wish I had See and Viz. It is convenient because you can get yourself trapped into silly situations like this. Wish I also had a Fan of Gales. Man, I really don't want to waste this, but it's really stupid. I don't want to give this guy a chance to paralyze me, because you know I take it off, and that's... If he does that, I actually could die. So this is just a case of how do I get rid of this consumable problem, and I wonder, what do we have? That's pretty expensive, honestly. Do I deal 4 legendary destruction? Let's give it a shot. Okay. That can work. Yeah. I mean, it was overkill, but it's going to solve my problem. I hope. Oh, Hopefully this guy doesn't get the idea to torment. Do I have any more summoning? There we go. I got him. Figured they would. So that was a very expensive deal 4, but it did solve the issue. So yeah, you just gotta, you can get tripped up sometimes due to stuff like that. You don't pay attention to messages and you start taking damage and you're like, wait, what? I mean, Timbo, please don't take it upon yourself to regulate my Twitch chat. You are not a moderator of this chat room. I'm just gonna point that out. I don't mind if we don't discuss statue form, but I also don't, I'm not asking for moderators. God damn it. Son of a bitch. This guy again. Did I miss it again? Something bites you. Yeah, well, these guys have blink close, and they'll get you that way. Well, got him. What a pain those are, though. So one thing, this is the one major annoyance about this is the one major annoyance of going into Crypt is Vampire Knights are probably one of the more like, they're individually not that much of a threat, but you have to like, you just have to be really careful, especially on a character like this. Because I really can't, if something has a big melee bonus versus me, it's going to be a problem. So I'm hoping to, well, that's nice. I've just had really bad luck so far with finding rings in this game. Wow, really, huh? Does this guy have like interesting. Okay. Surprised that worked as poorly as it did. Also wish I had this spell. There we go. So the stuff that's in this vault is, there's going to be a profane, alright, see ya. There's going to be a profane servitor in here. There can be greater mummies. There can be, like Khufu can spawn. Yeah, what's up, Panda? Doing good. Don't actually remember your username. I kind of do, but sometimes people show up every now and again and I may not. Or they may be from like Tiles chat from a long time ago and I may not know their name. So in this room there's going to be a couple of bone dragons. There's going to be a profane servitor, and at the back there's going to be, oh yeah, Bamboomancer. I do remember you. Hell Knight. How dare you, sir. What am we going to train? Yeah, I do remember you, Bamboomancer. I guess it's been a while since we've chatted. But welcome, all the same. So we're gonna go for, say, 20 of this. I don't know why I'm enchanting. You have to. I do have to be careful. I said this was an easier one. It's certainly like these things are. Yeah, we're gonna use some. There we go. Finish them off with this. It'll work out pretty well. Yeah, you can see I'm getting a bit low on cards. If I pull many more of those like deal 4, you know, I picked a deck that was new, so I knew it had at least 4 cards. By the way, you have to be really careful with deal 4. What can happen is if the deck is not sufficient, doesn't have enough cards, it will start to draw from the deck of punishments, I think, and those are all like strictly bad cards. They're not guaranteed to be 100% strictly bad, because you can get things like Zomrath that will, like, you know, do something beneficial. But yeah, there are God Wrath cards in there. They may not really be impactful, but you don't really want to risk it. I picked a deck that had that was untouched, and apparently it only had 4 cards because it just disappeared, I believe. The other one, I think, right there, that has 5. Oh, there's our boy. I don't really have a lot of summoning left, unfortunately. If this is a... We don't really know what this is yet. Teleport at this point with a lot of stuff cleared out may not be that bad, but I have to be really careful about not teleporting with, like... Let's try a Swift and see. Okay, yeah, so this is probably... that's actually probably not a Vampire Knight. Yeah, you know who made this this ending, Prozac? I'll let you guess. Which dev would make an ending like this? You probably already know because it's a pretty famous one, but... Just kind of letting stuff peel off. The reason why is I don't want to fight so close to the main vault. Do I have? Okay, yeah. I'm walking around with RC because there's plenty of things that do hit you with cold in Crypt. I also happen to have RN++, which is nice but not required. There's a bunch of different maps. There's some that that are vaults within a normally generated level. So you'll see what looks like an otherwise normalish level, and then there'll be a special vault. There's a number of those. There's quite a few that are encompass maps like this one that take up the whole level. I know of at least 4 encompass maps. This one, another one by Moo, which is like this series of compartments. There's another one that's like a kind of a fortress with like a big water, like you start out in the center of this huge lake that surrounds the entire fortress, and it's got, I think it's got a bunch of dancing weapons and some non-living stuff. There's the one by Evil Mike that's like a spooky forest with like a spooky chapel. Okay, that was just a, that died very quickly, but that was probably a Shadow Wraith. So eventually we're going to run into Bone Dragon, and I think a guaranteed Servitor. Key to making this one easier is lure stuff away from the center area, especially you can see all these like chambers. You know, if you fight really close to the center, you may have a character that's strong enough to just do that, but if you fight really close to the center, you're going to wake up a lot of stuff. These things break out of it. can see how much damage. Those do surprising amount of damage, honestly. Oh yeah, that's Moo's. That one, it's like a series of compartments. It's got one compartment that always has a cursed skull with some loot. It's got like this transparent winding gold chamber, and yeah, at the end is like a kind of a little house with a few liches inside and some more gargoyles, and just kind of letting one of these guys peel off. You don't have to fight all of them at once. Getting garbage rings, man. I just need like part of the reason why I was excited to do Crypt was to hopefully get some really nice rings, but there's a lich. Those are obviously really spooky. Really nice spell for this level is Dispel Undead. Unfortunately, it didn't generate this game. I do have enough Necro and a Staff of Death where I would be using that for sure. For this lich, I will probably hit him up with some... Oh, there's also one of these guys. Oh boy. I don't have a lot. We're gonna Swift away from this. Swift, unfortunately, doesn't have a lot of good spell power. Yeah, I'm just gonna whack him, and the Lich can kind of... I don't want to fight his demon summons, obviously, so I'm gonna run away and try to hit him up. Yeah, I mean, Seeing Viz is going to become less of a major issue. There's just Vampire Knights that are... I'm going to encounter those in depths as well. Hopefully I'll find it. It's really nice on an Octopode to not have surprises like that, if possible. Okay, there's our boy. Great. He already hasted. Okay, there's a Panlord. I'll let Panlord we're gonna Swift away and reset this fight. Fortunately, spell power on Swift is not very good. I don't know why we do it to him. Why not? Oh, you son of a bitch. Why would you do that to me? Oh, minus telling, huh? Okay. That went poorly because I was slow. I should have realized that that was a bad play. This is, I still have this stupid minus telly ring that is so annoying, but it's, particularly here, it's kind of a good idea to be careful about your MR. Many characters are much less appreciative of MR. Octopode is one where it's kind of nicer to have it. This Lich could cooperate by not doing something crazy, like immediately going invis. There's a Jiangshi. To get rid of all that trash before. May not be able to hit this guy, we'll just have to see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we can finish him off. That worked. Orb of Destruction always works. Let's lower some of this stuff off. Friendly Tormentor. Yeah, I know. I've heard other players express that, like they don't like Crypt is like, you know, Crypt is really easy XP. It poses a few more challenges to this particular character, I guess, but you can see I'm doing fine. There's the Bone Dragon. Not going to open that other door There's going to be stuff leaking out from the north. I'm just kind of pulling off anything that I can. Bone Dragon, he's a little tough to take in straight melee. I can try to soften him up a little bit. It can be difficult though because he resists so much stuff.